Hello, everybody. It is a new moon in Capricorn. I am Tanae. Welcome to the Zodiac Chatline. In just a moment, we will get started here. I hope everybody's had a wonderful day. New Year's happened yesterday. So we are here to celebrate the new moon and chat about it. Um, and that's about it. Hey,
Oh, hey.
Cassie!
Happy New Year. Happy
Oh,
new
yes.
moon
Thank
in
you.
Capricorn. It's
Thank
January
you.
2nd,
Yo, we
2022.
made it through 2021 and 2020,
Prow,
which were
prow,
kind of the
prow.
same, or not? Yeah. Prow, prow. Pew,
hmm
pew.
hmm
So, how have you been? How was your blessed new year? How has your new moon been going?
It's been good. I have been a little bit chaotic today, but actually, after this live, I'm going to use our little void of course time to get my thoughts together for my new moon intentions, which I'll do
I
later tomorrow night.
I like that. I like that. I like that. I think that's a
Yes.
good idea.
And but so far I'm delighted to be here in 2022. I vibe with the Capricorn, let's hibernate and plot our fortunes energy.
Fortunes, that's the
So,
word. Fortunes is the first word you're going to hear from us in 2022.
yes.
Multiples.
Mm-hmm. Get that passive income, all the different
Hey,
places.
hey.
So, how about you? How was your new moon, your new year?
I had an amazingly blessed new year. I would like to give a quick shout out to my godparents because they are thebomb.com and they actually saw our show and called me. Now, mind you, y'all, they're in their like 70s and called me and just, they were so happy to see it. And they said my mom will be proud. So that was like an amazing moment for me personally, especially with this astrology, like that just was like the peak. And then I've really been chilling today. I feel like new all the moons always affect me, new or full. I'm always kind of like wired, but this one was a really good settled reset. I watched a lot of Queer Eye because it's a good time to hibernate, like you said, and slowly plotted some things, put out some things,
Mm-hmm.
just working on that what fortunes.
That's right. That's
So
right.
what do you know about today's new moon in Capricorn?
So, in general, new moons are a time to basically shake off the last, whatever, any extra shit that's hanging on to you from the last 4 weeks of your life, the last moon cycle. Shake it off and relax and formulate your intentions for this moon cycle. And in Capricorn, and especially with Venus in retrograde, I would highly encourage people to focus on their own shit, specifically your career and ambition stuff. If things feel strained in your partnership, commit to being calm and rational as much as you can about that, but like know that your efforts to fix that are probably going to be kind of wonky right now, and you'll probably have better luck dealing with career moves and goals and long-term financial planning. So any intentions that you have, and you don't have to. So when we talk about new moon intentions, and I guess Tanae, you introduced me to the ritual of putting down intentions every new moon, and I think you're probably more committed to that than I am, though I'm pretty committed to it. So what? How would you describe that?
So, intentions for new moons, if you guys ever want to find out what time, there's a whole kind of story about how you should do it on this, how you shouldn't do it on this. I'm a big fan of like making sure that you work with the energy, not against the energy. New moons are a great time to reset, as Cassie said, and like start from the beginning. I used to start writing out my intentions by like putting like a list, like this, and this. And then all of a sudden I decided that didn't work best for me. So I started writing letters to the universe. So every new moon, I decide it's the Capricorn new moon. So a lot of my energy is going to be talking to the universe about my careers and long-term goals. But in terms of writing a letter so that it flows naturally rather than just doing bullet points like I got to hit this, I got to hit this, I got to hit this. And then I really set the intentions that are realistic to things that I want to achieve in, like you said, in that moon cycle. And it doesn't have to always be something so out of this world extravagant. It can be very, very small steps like, I want to redo my resume, or I want to apply for 7 jobs this week, or I want to I want to start a savings account and, maybe make it a money market account. Okay, yeah, that's random, but you get the point I'm saying. But writing letters to myself and to the universe at the new moon has really, really kind of helpful. And then on the full moon, I kind of reassess what happens and write down the wins. And, on our Sagittarius new moon, this whole was created. So, this is one of those, that's how I really look at the new moons. And I like that this new moon is in Capricorn, and Mercury has our fun planet of communication has just moved into Aquarius, which is really, really helpful for that sign because Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini is one of Aquarius' cousin signs. So, the air energy, and it's really good to really strategize your long-term career plans.
Mm-hmm. Mercury being in Gemini at this present moment basically
in Aquarius.
lends. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was thinking because it's the cousin sign of Gemini. I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to misspeak. So Mercury in Aquarius right now gives your words a little bit more strength because it gives them a little bit more clarity. And that's great for setting intentions and actually writing stuff down. New moons are a great time to get out your journal. I love that idea of writing a letter to the universe because as I was researching this episode too, one thing that came up was the new moon is a good time to reflect and set intentions, but save your bullet point planning for a few days from now. Give yourself some time to let those ideas seed a little bit. I usually do write my intentions as in a list form, but I try to keep them broad strokes. I remember I actually went through my I don't call it a grimoire, but that's essentially what it is. My book that I do all my witchy shit in.
Hell
and
yeah.
I was trying to find if I had any new moon intentions in Capricorn that I've previously done. But I also sometimes write those in random notebooks. I couldn't find any, but I remember one memorable new moon in Taurus when I had just moved up to Michigan and I was working in a position that was very difficult for me at the time, felt like a step backward. Was one of my new moon intentions in Taurus was to remember that my worth is more than my labor.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's important in the sign of Taurus too, because they're also very career driven and also are kind of the zodiac sign of ruts. So you have to really watch yourself in Taurus energy that you're not getting stuck in a rut.
And a lot of that. And a lot of Earth energy, it's very easy for them to get stuck, but very hard to get out because stuck in the mud.
Yeah. But that said, Capricorn's a great time to work with the career focus of Earth and still the actual energy because Capricorn is a cardinal sign. So a Capricorn new moon is a good idea to really focus on your ideas around your career. What are your big picture ideas? What do you know you can do? What do you see yourself doing better than other people who are getting paid to do it more? You know what I'm saying?
And don't there's no rush. That's the best part about Capricorn energy is that this is the steady progress one at a time and there's just no rush. And so when we're talking about long-term goals, we might be talking about goals 5-10 years out, but it's the steps that you need to take to get there, really focus on that Capricorn energy.
So before we get further,
okay,
if anyone has a question who has joined us, thank you for being here. It does not have to be about Capricorn. It doesn't have to be about the new moon. It can be about anything about astrology. It can be about anything really. And maybe we can answer it, but drop it in the chat. Our producer Coral is got her eyeballs on it. We've got our G chat up. Send us your questions. We want to hear that.
We got you.
Okay. So that's the energy we're working with for this new moon. Big goal setting, long
a lot of Capricorn energy with all the planets. Not all the planets, let me rephrase. The sun, the moon, Venus, and Pluto. And maybe there's one. All of that, yes. So those four are all in Capricorn right now. So that is a lot of long-term ambitious career girl energy. I will say, like Cassie mentioned earlier, Venus is in Capricorn and it's in retrograde. So that you can let just simmer. But the other energies, it's time for transformations. It's time for you to really focus on what works best for your long-term career goals.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. So what is your do you mind sharing with us something like that you're trying to manifest for your Capricorn new moon?
I will share it very vaguely because
It's private.
I want to keep that energy good.
Mm-hmm.
There is an opportunity that I have sought out and I have put myself out there for. And so, you know that it is huge for me, because this would be the dream. Like one of those achievements where I'm like, what, I get to do that? Like that would be a dream. Um, and then the other one is continue to work on my own business and do my astrology books and, tarot readings and things like that. Multiple streams of income, because who gonna live on one stream of income? Not me.
Mm-mm.
So,
Mm-mm.
but those are the big one. It's out there. I've manifested it, and I'm no longer gonna keep going at it. You say something, you manifest, you let it go, and you let Goddess take it by the wheel. So
Absolutely.
what about you?
I haven't gotten super clear on them, but I will say that my word for the year is freedom. So part of that for me is also how do I develop my skills to have as much freedom as I can in my personal life.
Yes, that's a good. Ooh, look at you trying to learn that work-life balance. Hey, with you
Mm-hmm,
on that.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, my word of the year is embrace. So that's why I'm trying to embrace stepping outside of my box and going after those long-term goals that I've always wanted.
Mm-hmm. I think that um, one thing to think about with new moons and something that I often incorporate into my like timetable, because you spoke about you set intentions at the new moon and then you revisit those intentions at the full moon, which is a great idea. And I also think, especially when your new moon intentions are longer term, as they should be in Capricorn, it's also a good idea to reevaluate those at the sister new moon. So like when the in this case it'll be when the moon is new in Cancer.
Full
So
in Cancer.
oh,
Yeah.
really? You wouldn't
Well,
you if you
I mean, if I
oh,
set
I
the Capricorn
see.
intentions, I would
Yeah,
look at the full moon and then I would, and
then
then
they'll kind of come to fruition
because
like
you're
that would be the
gonna, and then you'll get a Capricorn full moon in Cancer season, and then you can look at those again and see
ah.
how far they've come. But you can at least, by the Cancer full moon of this month, maybe tweak and adjust them because you'll
Mm-hmm.
have a couple of weeks to deal with it. But like you said, once the Capricorn
Oh,
full moon comes during Cancer season, then you'll get that. You'll
okay.
find that whole. Oh, it makes sense now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I always think you should keep track.
I guess that's kind of what it is I always look back at it at its opposite season. So in Cancer
That makes
season,
sense.
I would revisit my
I like that.
Capricorn
That's
and
smart
intentions.
for sure.
But I understand what you're saying about looking at the different moon cycles in both of those two seasons and
And
seeing.
what I also like about moons, especially new moons, especially when they're in your sun sign, I tend to believe that that is a new moon for you to manifest for your whole year because that is your sun sign. So that energy is a lot more directive towards you. So anytime, and your sun sign's new moon will always be when the sun is in your sign. So around your birthday season, it just depends on when that is within that sign. But that will always be the new moon. So I encourage any Capricorns, if we get you watching,
They're
to,
not.
I
They
know,
don't believe in astrology.
they're working. They're like,
Right.
what? It's
They're
not making me
working.
money. I'm not listening to them demos over there. So, but anyway, if you are a Capricorn, or if you're a Capricorn moon and you want to really, manifest that, I fully support that. Capricorn moons, a lot of your emotions are probably based about your long-term career goals. So,
use this new moon.
Yeah.
If your sun's in Capricorn, your moon's in Capricorn, or your Capricorn rising, any of those 3 big placements, this is a good new moon for you to focus on. Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right. All right.
Okay.
So should we get to the questions? Because we actually have a few questions to talk about.
Let's go ahead and get to the questions.
Or is there anything else before we go that you would like to say about the new moon in Capricorn?
No, I mean, just enjoy it. I mean, we've had a very long 2019, which went to 2020 and 2021. And while things are probably still unsure for a lot of people in a lot of different ways, just take it as we've made it this far to this one, and just keep manifesting. Like, you can't just stay stuck. You have to keep at least moving somewhere. It's not always going to be forward, but at least making some sort of strides somewhere is helpful. You know what I mean? But I like this reset, this Capricorn still kind of energy. Everything's kind of bubbling beneath the surface, and we have a lot more. The planets are doing a lot of stuff this month, so just calm down. Like, I'm serious. Mercury's going to go retrograde in a couple weeks, and Venus is still retrograde. We have a full moon in a couple weeks. So there's just a lot. Uranus, I think, is retrograde. There's just a lot going on right now. And this is just a really, really good time to just chill the F out. Like, for real. And self-care is the best care. And new moons are really great for that, because you're resetting from everything, especially from just having New Year's Day. You just reset from either if you decide to make New Year's resolutions and you didn't start them on the second day, So really just take your time and enjoy life. Like, really enjoy it.
Yeah. Salt baths, naps.
Ooh, yes.
All of these things
Good
are
food.
good for new moons. They're good for self-care. They're good for shedding old energy.
Yourself.
Yes.
Saging yourself.
Take a nice long bath.
Cleaning your timeline, making
Clear
sure that
out your cache.
Yeah, maybe try following pages that of people that are doing the same long-term goals you have, or that can encourage you. Things like that.
Unfollow all your exes' pages. Things like that.
You should have been to that, especially during retrograde. What? Block.
Right. It's a fact. It's a fact. It's a fact. Yeah.
All right. So you want to get to these questions?
I do. I'm so excited.
Okay.
Questions
all right. Go ahead. Give a shout out to the questions.
I'm going to give a shout out to Andrew, who emailed us several great questions today. Thank you so much, Andrew, for listening. An admitted skeptic he is too. So goddess bless you. So Andrew's first question was, I'm a Scorpio. What the fuck does that mean?
Loaded.
It's a loaded question. It is. So I spent a lot of time that I should have been prepping more for this episode, making a visual aid to answer this question, because Janae and I, when we talk about astrology, we try to make it as relatable as possible. Well, but we have a hard time sometimes remembering that we know a lot about this shit, and a lot of people don't know a lot about this shit. So, especially for somebody who's a skeptic, I just kind of want to go through it. And this is going to be horrible for the podcast because it's totally a visual aid. So I'm very sorry. I don't know what I'm going to do for this portion of the audio.
Use your imagination, guys.
Right. So,
or just Google Natal Chart.
That's right. There you go. There you go. So the whole, thrust of astrology is it maps out the planets in relationship to where you were at the time and place you were born, and puts them into a very fancy chart called your natal chart that looks like this. And I have highlighted what is called the ascendant, which is the sign that was on the horizon at the moment you were born. So, of course, this is a two-dimensional rendering of the fucking universe, which has literally, we don't even know how many dimensions in it. So how do you get that chart out of the universe? So this is us on Earth. Planets, the moon is all around, not going around us, because of course we're going around the sun too, but we're also spinning like this. And then out even further outside our solar system in the universe are 12 constellations that correlate to basically a nice big warm ring around our whole solar system and all its shit at all times. And your natal chart is a map of where all the planets were in relationship to that ring of constellations. And we get that by finding the spot you were born, hey, right here, and then laying on top of it 30-degree axes. And these
Impressive.
12 houses will show which planet was in each sign. And you end up with a chart that looks like this. And all of those planets mean different things. So when we say you are a Scorpio, it means the sun, which is arguably the biggest influence in your natal chart, but it's what we all know as our sign, is where the sun was, and it changes every 30-ish days, 29 and a half-ish, whatever it is, days. So that means the sun was in Scorpio at the moment you were born, but the moon was also someplace, and so was Mercury, and so was Jupiter, and so was Venus, and all of those things have different meanings within your chart.
And if you're born between October, we'll say like 23rd-ish, all the way to November 18th-ish, that qualifies you as a Scorpio. There are some degrees in and out of there, but that is probably about the span of when Scorpio season does happen. So it is the last water sign of its out of the three water signs, and it's in the fall, so it's that energy of a lot of transformation right after leaves have changed.
Wouldn't Pisces be the last water sign?
With mutable energy, yes.
Because it's the 12th?
It is. It's the middle one. It's the one that sustains the energy through the season. You are absolutely correct.
But it's so dark that it feels like the last one.
Yeah. But in that fall time during Scorpio season, most of the leaves have pretty much started to fall. There's a lot of transformation usually happening at that time within ourselves. We're really transitioning from fall to not quite winter, but almost winter. And Scorpios are a fixed water sign, and they tend to understand the depths and loss and heavier things more than most. And they feel them a lot deeper than everybody, because water signs feel everything all of the time, but Scorpios, theirs goes deep.
Yeah.
They're ruled by Pluto, which is, excuse me, y'all, Hades, the underworld. I mean, that's kind of how it's represented. And Pluto is not a planet that is kind all the time. It is meant for transformation and upheaval. It is not meant to ever be anything light and easy.
Yeah.
But I respect Scorpios for having that. I have 8th house energy in my chart, so I understand what Scorpios go through.
It's a very intense sign. And if you think about the dates that you just outlined, the 23rd of October to November 19th.
Yeah.
You've got Halloween. If you're a pagan, you celebrate, is it Shamain? It's spelled S-A-M.
Samhain.
Samhain.
Yep.
S-A-M-H-A-I-N.
Yep.
Not a word I've said out loud a lot of times, obviously. But I like Dia de los Muertos. We kind of celebrated that at my house, Day of the Dead, and all of those things happen in that season. And there's a reason for that. It just, for what I don't know the reason, but that Scorpio season has very thin, a thin veil between
Yes.
the living and the
And the
dead.
spirit world, exactly. Yep. And
It's
that's why they go deep. They can they can be there.
Yeah, it's intense energy. Scorpios can be very obsessive. All fixed signs can have a tendency to be obsessive, but because water signs are also very emotional, it I think is more pronounced and worse. Not maybe necessarily worse,
It's
but
more pronounced and it's just heavier.
it's acute. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
just, it's not, it's, you know what, it is worse when that person is vibrating very low. Scorpios are scorpions, and like nobody wants to get stung by a scorpion. I think there was like that parable about the frog and the scorpion, and it was like, help me over. And the frog is like, why'd you sting me? He's like, I'm a scorpion. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. It's like, I'm not sure I'm like summarize the parable, but it's about there. It's pretty much like that. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, Scorpios will wait until centuries and still take out revenge for
yeah,
you.
it's
So,
yeah.
just that's a tread carefully sign, and they're intense in all things, especially like you said, in relationships and love. Scorpios are fairly hardworking people too, and if they're going to get something, they're really going to go after it because their emotions are behind it, and they're a fixed sign, so they're fixated on what they need, and that way. So Scorpios are, we did name them for a good Capricorn match.
Yes, yes.
But in segue, does Andrew have another question?
Yes. So next question, that's great. My wife is an Aries. What does that mean? Are we compatible on a zodiac level? What's your take? What do you think?
Okay, so let me say this. You guys are married, so apparently you're compatible in some sort of way. I would say yes, because both Aries and Scorpio are ruled by the planet of Mars. And I do know another Scorpio male and an Aries female that are married. Not y'all, but in addition. And I believe that energy tends to work because they're both ruled by Mars. And the water tends to like Aries is a lot of fire energy, and it's a lot of like abrupt, quick, first type of fire energy. And the water element, I think, allows Aries to enjoy that fire energy and not burn out so fast because the water is like splash, splash. You know what I mean? So I think it's really, I think that if you do have arguments, they're quite explosive. But I'm sure your makeup sex is even better. So that's my take. You?
Yeah, to that end, we should mention that Scorpio rules the genitals. Like
Oh,
the
yes.
zodiac is the from the beginning to the end of the zodiac is transplanted on many things, and one of them is the human body. And so it starts. Aries is the head, right? The top,
Mm-hmm.
and then Taurus is the neck, and Gemini rules the lungs
Mm-hmm.
and extremities, and Cancer's the boobies and tummy, and Scorpio rules the genitals, and they're super duper sexual. That's a whole thing for Scorpio. My take on Scorpio and Aries is yes, I think that is a good match. I don't think it's traditionally viewed. It probably doesn't come up as like one of the most well-known harmonious matches, but I would say kind of like we discussed with Capricorn and Scorpio, because a fixed sign can help a cardinal sign stay on track. So Scorpio Andrew probably helps his wife achieve her goals rather than just allowing them to be a flash in the pan. And Aries has so much fire energy that they will never let themselves be drowned by Scorpio. And a
Ever.
less equipped sign to handle a Scorpio's intense energy they would allow themselves to be drowned or flooded out, or they would just dip because they couldn't handle it being that intense.
And then
But
that Scorpio energy would just turn super dark after that.
yeah, Aries is like kind of immune to that. They are a big ball of fire, and they're just not going to be splashed out by some scorpion.
And we actually have a very famous male Scorpio and Aries woman that we have seen in the media a lot lately from the very famous Kardashian family.
Oh
That
no.
is the lady Kourtney Kardashian is an Aries and Travis Barker is a Scorpio.
Oh, right. Well,
And
there you go. There's your
you
answer.
know, so I think that I mean, right, that couldn't be, and you can, and their love story plays out in public, and we can see the physical attraction. So we know Travis is putting it down on her. And we see that her sister has also jumped to a scorpion ship with Pete Davidson. So, you know,
Who has legendary genitals? There we go.
I mean, yeah. So what future? I mean, we can. Drake is a Scorpio. I mean, we could talk
Oh
about these
yeah.
Scorpios all day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can talk about the female Scorpios. Eve, you know, Gabrielle Union again, matched with a
Like,
Capricorn, Dwayne Wade. So I mean, I'm just saying, you know.
there we go. There we
Um,
go.
but in general, Andrew, I think that y'all got the fire and water to make it work.
Mm-hmm. And as we have said before, and we will say again, I am sure multiple times on this program,
Please.
anybody can work with anybody or anybody can be terrible with anybody. It very much depends on the individuals.
And where their vibrational energy is. When you're low vibrating, you're going to bring out the worst in every bit of your sign.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So Andrew's last question. Well, no, he sent more, but we're saving some of them for another episode because they're on topic. Does any of this have to do with electromagnetism or physics or, I'm sorry, electromagnetism or physics or something when the planets move? So I would say potentially yes. I mean, part of the reason that I'm into astrology is I accept that I believe, I know that there's a lot about the way the universe is working that I simply don't understand. And I was called to astrology because I so identified with my descriptions of my sign. When I started reading them when I was like 10 years old, I was like, oh my God, this is me. This is exactly me. And then I did my chart and learned that 4 of my like personal influences are all in the sign of Cancer. So of course it makes sense. I carry a ton of Cancer energy within me. But it also makes sense why some people whose charts are not harmonious that way don't see themselves in their sun sign and they think this is all bullshit. But I remember reading as a kid that the mathematician Pythagoras had this theory that the spacing of the planets in the universe, or in the solar system, excuse me, was akin to the chords on a stringed instrument. And he believed that there was music that was created between the movements of the planets. And I think it's kind of like that. Like anything could be influencing us at any time. And especially having had a couple babies, they're just impressionable lumps of who knows what energy, light, beautiful stuff comes out of their little baby bodies. And like, I think it stands to reason that the energy of the planets around us in the form of electromagnetism or other, you know, celestial forces, physical forces that we don't even understand yet and have no way of mapping, that why couldn't those imprint on you at the moment you're born? You know what I mean? And like,
totally.
We've been, since time untold, there have been stories of people saying, when Mars is high in the sky, the people who are born under that, you know, are warriors, or people plot like, you know, oh, when there's these specific alignments of planets, then, you know, the king's going to get overthrown. And we've been doing this for centuries in different ways across the globe. Obviously, people are this energy is tuning in some way to us.
And we're such a small speck in the whole scheme of the universe and the whole scheme of life, and there's no way that we don't get affected by that. Like we're not those type of beings that like we're not affected by that. I mean, if you don't believe that you are, then you're not. But you know, they don't say that full moons bring out the crazies for no reason.
Talk to any cop, talk to a nurse. Like they are all like, yeah, there's something to the full moon though.
You know, when we used to work in the restaurant together, and we'd be like, oh, that's why everybody's losing their mind right now. It's a full moon. So, you know, I always think that we're here for a greater purpose. And like you said, when your soul decides I want to be here in this moment, in this lifetime, that's what happens. All the planets are aligned, and And the good part, honestly, the greatest part about that is that you come into this world with so many gifts and tools, and the planets are put where they are in order to help you, even if it seems like it's a challenging placement. Nothing is, I feel like the universe always creates in your favor, and it reflects the type of energy that you put out. And that is true when it comes to your sun sign, your moon sign. It's just how you communicate, and learning more about that for yourself will help you communicate and help other people, and people relate to you and have them understand how you need to be related to, because we're all here to kind of understand each other and work with each other, even if we don't agree. And I think that that's what a lot of people forget, is that like we don't have to agree, but respecting and understanding each other can go a long, long way.
Absolutely.
So
Before we sign off, first of all, people, please email us to be a guest on the show. We got some people lined up for next week's big first ever live. But we're going to do this all year. We've committed to a year of this. I want your face right here in this little rectangle.
We want to
talking
to
us
people
about your natal chart.
Why not?
It's going to be so much fun. And Tanae, would you please pull a card for us, for everybody watching, for the new moon in Capricorn, where we're going to focus on ourselves and our long-term goals?
I'm here for it. So thank you, everybody that has joined. Thank you, everybody that's going to listen later when we post it all the other places. But yes, sign up, slide in our DMs, hit that Gmail, whatever. We here for y'all. This is what we love. We love to show our astrology knowledge and share it with y'all and just talk some shit. So today I have the Tarot of Dreams by Charo Marchetti. I hope I said his name right, and if I didn't, sorry. So I've taken all of the major arcanas out of the deck of this, as well as he puts palace cards for each element. So there's a Palace of Swords, Palace of Water, Palace of coins, and a Palace of Wands. So let's see what we're going to get for the new moon in Capricorn, the last new moon for everybody.
Absolutely. Many blessings, much prosperity.
All right, here we go. And we have, perfect. Okay, so if you see, we have the Fool and the Hangman. Slightly contradictory energies, but we gonna work with them. So I love the Fool. The Fool is a lot of people, I call it, some people call it Aries energy, some people call it Aquarius energy. It is ruled by Uranus, which is the planet of unpredictability, surprises. It's usually known for like taking a leap of faith. And I would say with this Capricorn new moon, take a leap to dream as big as you can for your long-term goals. Don't necessarily take a leap to do these goals or take all the steps, but really take a leap to really think about it and see how far you really want to go. Just do something you might not ever thought you would do, and go that way. And then when we have the Hangman, this is Neptunian energy, also ruled by Pisces. What I like about the Hangman is he is suspended upside down. So if you think about it, when you're upside down, it gives you the ability to see things from a different perspective. Your blood rushes to the top of your head. So you really have to think and focus and really align. And I think that's great for the Capricorn new moon energy, to really look at things from a different perspective.
I love those two cards for this new moon energy. I think, to me, those two cards together say, you sit here and think about what you would do if there were no barriers, if you had absolutely no one telling you couldn't do that thing you dreamed of doing. And what is that thing? And once you have that answer, spend this month thinking about ways that you could do that thing.
And you also not telling yourself that you can't do those things, not other people, but really focusing on like how you're talking to yourself about what dreams you want, because that really makes a difference. How you think, how you speak to yourself, that is also the energy that was reflected. So Cassie, I love it. I love it too.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. We'll see y'all on the next time. It's all love, baby.
Bye.